Right, guys, we have to speak about meditation. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Sophie, and this is another episode of Absurdly Aquarian. Welcome. Today, I want to talk about a topic that many of you will not want to hear about, and let me tell you, I was one of you. The idea of meditating and having to still your mind often seems impossible to us. Especially to someone like me who would beforehand class themselves as a massive overthinker. I used to have wild thoughts going around my head all day long. All activities I was doing, most of the time, I struggled to be present. I struggled to stay in the moment because there was so many things to consider, so many things to think about. At least that's what I told myself. And that's why I told myself that I couldn't possibly be meditating, because for someone with an active mind such as me, it would be downright impossible to come to a still place and be quiet. But let me tell you, there are so many benefits of meditation, and there's so many ways that meditation can improve your life. And in today's episode, I want to share some of them with you and make sure that you might find the inspiration and the motivation to maybe start meditating even 2 minutes a day. That's all it takes. Start with something that doesn't seem so daunting. So let's get into this. There are numerous benefits of meditation. Let me just read you out some of them. First of all, meditation sharpens your attention, and this is something that I've experienced so much. Do you ever get gloomy mind where you have a task but you really struggle getting to the deep end of it? You find it hard to focus on just one thing for a while. That was me before, and I can certainly vouch for the fact that meditation has helped me improve that. It's because our mind works like a muscle. It's something that we can train, and that we have to train if we want to see certain results. If you want to be a happier person, you have to train your mind to think happier thoughts. We often think of our thoughts as things that we have no control over. Oh, they just come. Yes, they do, but it's your choice to judge them or not to judge them. And it's your choice to engage in them or just let them fly. I recently read a really interesting book about eliminating negative thoughts, and it was very insightful and led me to research the topic a little bit deeper. First of all, our mind is so powerful, and I fully believe that whatever we think about are the words that we speak, turn into the actions that we take, turn into the reality that we have. So if you think about that for a minute, if you continuously engage in negative thinking, if you mull around thoughts in your head of how you can't achieve this and you're not happy doing that and your life is dull and uninspirational, then guess what's going to happen? Your life will turn exactly how you say it will, because that's all your brain is going to focus on. Our brain is pretty damn accurate to what we think. If we feed it thoughts that tell it that we're not good enough, it's going to start looking for examples in our lives that tell us that we're not good enough. So you might be walking down the street, and because you tell yourself you're not good enough, what you're going to focus on are all the situations that in your head affirm that belief to you. So you're going to encounter situations that make you feel unworthy, make you feel like, oh, I couldn't do it to begin with. Say you want to be better at practicing yoga, something that I'm doing at the moment because I really want to become a yoga teacher eventually. So I used to tell myself, oh, I could never practice yoga. My wrists are too fragile. I can't be a yoga teacher because I can't hold certain poses for long enough. But because I was constantly thinking that, making that a belief of mine, what I stopped doing were looking for ways I could improve my wrist strength because I was fully under the impression that I wasn't going to be able to do it anyway. So I did not apply myself. I did not look for ways to be better and improve this quote unquote lack of mine. And it turned into my reality. So in that thought pattern, no, I was not going to become a yoga teacher because guess what? I wasn't focusing on the right things. The moment you start telling yourself that you can do things is when magical things are happening. But getting back to meditation, there's so many other benefits. Science has found that long-term consistent meditation increases your resilience to stress. So even if you take 5 minutes a day, in the morning, in the evening, midday, whenever it might be most convenient to you, and implement 5 minutes of stilling your mind and just being in the moment, you can improve your resilience to stress, which strengthens your heart, which makes you less prone to diseases like stroke, which decreases your chances of getting diabetes. There are so many benefits physically to this that I think it's insane that this isn't taught in school. But I think the hardest part for most people is getting started, because what I personally struggled with so much was accepting my thoughts. Especially when we get into or try to get into a meditative state at first, we really judge ourselves for not being able to immediately click on, change our mindset, and just get into a meditative state. I used to do this all the time. I used to start closing my eyes. I used to listen to guided meditations. By the way, if you're looking for ones, check out Boho Beautiful. They do really nice ones, and the girl's voice is so calming. So look them up on YouTube. Really easy, 10 to 15 minutes. They even have 5 minutes ones. That's, I think, a good place to start if you struggle getting into that state, because they really talk you through what you have to do or whatnot. So what I used to struggle with was I would close my eyes, I would listen to whoever was speaking to me, and then thoughts would come. And my immediate reaction was, no, you can't be thinking, stop it. How can you not even meditate for 2 minutes? How could this be? You're so weak. Your mind doesn't want to do this. You're an overthinker. You can't do this, right? This is what I used to think. And of course, by putting so much pressure on myself, ironically, what I was doing was making it that much harder for myself to get into a peaceful, relaxed state. Because of course, when you're basically being angry at yourself, your thoughts run wild and then they take off from there. They just spiral and you're back into overthinking. So what's massively helped me has been to calm my mind, to accept any thought that comes just as it comes. When I close my eyes now and a thought comes, I try to just look at it from an outside perspective. Oh, that's an interesting thing. I like to think of it as your mind being a lake, and all your thoughts are little boats floating on the lake. Every boat you can observe, you can look at it, but you don't have to jump in and cross the lake. You can sit on the shore of the lake, just watch the water, see the boats passing by, but don't engage with them. And by doing this, you over time, come into a peaceful state. What I've found is that you have to set yourself goals for this. You have to start small and build up from there. I'm currently doing 30 days of meditating twice a day, every day. And it's really, really helped me. It's really calmed me down. I feel like I'm more compassionate. I find it easier to accept other people's views, something that I really struggle with usually. I find it simpler to see the good in life. I'm more optimistic. I find myself more productive because in the times that I am not meditating, I still go back to that practice. I actively monitor my thoughts, which is hugely important because your thoughts have such an impact on your life. It's like you wouldn't put trash in your body. You wouldn't eat negative or toxic things. Why would you trash up your mind? Why would you use your mind as a trash can if you wouldn't use your body as one? And it took me a while to really get into this, but I'm someone who really puts effort into my physical health. I try to eat healthy, I try to feed my body good things, but I wasn't feeding my mind good things. And I was expecting to get a positive outcome when I was putting something negative in. So I started reading a lot of self-improvement books because books can really help, I think. Whether you're listening to podcasts, like right now, hello, wonderful, thank you, you're doing good for yourself, or whether you're reading a book, whether you're listening to audiobooks. Some people really find that enjoyable. I don't. I prefer having something in my hand and reading it visually, but if that's something you like to do, then go for it. Set yourself a challenge every month to complete at least one book that improves your life. And this could be something really small. The book that I'm reading at the moment about eliminating negative thoughts only has about 200 pages, I think. It's really thin, and it took me maybe a week to complete, only because I was reading it 20-30 minutes a day. Some days I wouldn't, and that's perfectly fine. You don't have to pressure yourself to fit these things in every day. But I think you have to make a commitment to yourself to improve the state of your mind. Meditation also improves your mental health, and I think for all of us, having lived through an entire pandemic, pat yourself on the back for that, because that was hard, and you got through it. You're still here, you're still alive. Congrats. It's really taken a toll on a lot of people's mental health. And to get back into a calm, peaceful state sometimes means to do things that we didn't before. And I think implementing 5 minutes of meditation, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever feels right to you, is doing so much good for your mind. Think about how much anxiety has been triggered through this experience we've had as a global community. And I think, to be honest, that when you go through something so traumatic as a collective, the collective energy changes. This might sound hugely esoteric to you, and it may be, but I think that we all affect each other. We're all connected in some sort of way. Whether you think that, oh, I talk to my neighbor so I affect them, because yes, that's completely true, or whether you want to see it as something higher than that with energy fields, whatever it might be. I think that because we've all been through this experience together, the energy of the planet has gotten a lot more anxious than it used to be. And to counteract that, a good way of starting and getting your mind back into a place that's more settled is meditation. Quickly taking a sip of water because my mouth is getting dry. But another benefit of meditation is that it's been proven to improve your relationships. Think about it. If you give yourself 5-10 minutes in your day to completely spend with yourself, you not only improve your levels of self-acceptance, because, as I was just mentioning earlier, without self-acceptance, there is no meditation. If you don't accept that you are who you are, that your thoughts come and go as they do, and that you don't have to pressure yourself, you don't have to be unkind to yourself just because it takes a little bit longer to get into a meditative state for you. Those practices not only are practices of self-acceptance, but also self-love, because you're doing things that are good just for you, just because you deserve to live a better life every day. And in order to do that, you have to it makes you become more calm eventually. It makes you more settled in who you are. And it makes you less reactive to other people as well. Because, and I've noticed this so much in myself, let me tell you, I used to be the queen of reacting prematurely. Because I take things personally. I'm a very sensitive person. And sometimes I find it really hard to get criticized. But by meditating, you're finding a way to be more settled in yourself, which in turn leads you to feel less attacked when people are criticizing you or simply making remarks about you. Most of the time, when people talk to us or about us, they're not actually talking about you, they're talking about themselves. Especially when you find that people are having opinions on you, it's usually more reflective of them than it is of you. And by taking yourself back into your own body, starting to be more present and more aware of who you are, where you are, what you are, you give yourself the power back to engage with people on your terms, not on theirs. Have you ever found that you get into a situation and someone says something that they might not even have meant, but because you react to it so negatively, they start going on the defense. And within a couple of minutes, out of nowhere, you create a fight or negative tension, whatever it might be, however far it may go. And you think back on the situation, you think, damn it, I shouldn't have even reacted. It was something really stupid to say of me. Well, by practicing meditation, becoming more aware of your thoughts, you can start to improve yourself from the inside out. Because we're trying to get so dependent on other people when our happiness lies within. You can't blame anyone for you being unhappy. That's on you. If you engage in negative behavior, guess what? There's one person that can change your entire life today, and that's you. If you choose to do something good for yourself, like meditating for 5 minutes, honestly, this could, don't turn this into a shot game, because alcohol doesn't serve you at all. And in fact, I would highly recommend you try to stay sober for a month during your meditation challenge. But how many times have I said 5 minutes of meditation within this podcast? Lols. Anyhow, I think that by investing that time into yourself, because sitting in stillness for 5 minutes means you're taking yourself out of today's hustle culture. You're not doing something quote unquote productive, although it's hugely productive for you, your brain, your body, everything around you, but it's not considered productive. So by doing that, you're actively practicing self-love. And isn't that a wonderful thing? Shouldn't you be doing good for yourself every day? On another note, mindfulness due to meditation, can reduce many kinds of bias, which is something I talked about before. The fact that by meditating, you're being less reactive, you're making it easier for people to be themselves around you because you're feeling less judgy, because you don't have to be. You're in your own little happy bubble. Your mind is taken care of. Your mind is feeling loved because it's gotten attention. It's gotten the love that it deserves. And you don't have to constantly react to people, judge people, think about others, because you've got enough to think about yourself. There's so much about meditation that improves your life. And I think it's a shame that so little of us practice meditation on a daily basis, because I think if we did, we would not only be happier individually, but as a collective. Anyway, thanks for coming to my TED Talk about meditation, and maybe if you do your research or you just take my word for it and think about how great you would feel if you would increase the time you spend productively on yourself. Just stop scrolling on Instagram for 5 minutes. Instead, put your phone down, put it away, turn it off, whatever. Sit down, meditate, do something good for yourself. If you think that is something you want to do for yourself, please go ahead. Take this as your sign that your body wants to be nurtured, that your mind wants to be trained, that you deserve to be a happier person. Thank you for listening to me today. I wish you all the best. I hope you have a wonderful day. Sending all my love. This was another episode of Absurdly Aquarian, and if you're curious to see what other practices can improve your life and that I and my friends have implemented to become happier people, then please go listen to my next episode. I will see you there.